All right, so this is Sweet Home Alone. It's the newest, well, I guess Home Alone movie on Disney Plus. It is pretty much just the original Home Alone, only not as good. This is not good. I'll just say that right off the bat. So it's directed by Dan Mazer, and so yeah, there's a couple, um, Pam McKenzie and Jeff McKenzie, played by Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney. They are trying to sell their home because they've realized that they're not making enough money to really afford it. It's their family home. They've had it for, ever since their kids were born. So they don't want to sell it. So they're not telling their kids about it yet because they want to kind of keep it open to not selling it. There's a box full of dolls, and one of those dolls actually turns out to be pretty valuable. I think it was worth like 200K or something like that. It's a ridiculous amount of money. Archie Yates, Max Mercer. He is the Kevin McAllister character, pretty much. Him and his mom are, driving, whatever. He has to use the bathroom, so they just happened to, I guess, use the bathroom there because I guess there was nowhere else they could have gone to the bathroom. He didn't want to use the bathroom at home because just like the original movie, there's just a bunch of relatives there. So when he uses the bathroom, he comes out. He sees that there's that box of dolls. So him and Jeff kind of get into it. The mom comes out, whatever. He says he looks like Frankenstein, something like that. That doll actually goes missing when they finally realize how much money it's worth. So the kid has the doll. So they're going to try to get into the house to get the doll, right? The original movie, they were trying to just, steal from the house because it was an empty house and they already were, burglars. They already broke into other houses. But in this one, they've made the characters a lot more sympathetic because they really are just trying to get the doll so that they can, so they can keep their house so they don't have to sell it. Positives. The acting is good mostly, not from the Archie Yates, the Max character, but mainly from Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney. The movie is basically about them. They are pretty much the leads in this. They are, the main characters. Not so much Max, right? Like it cuts to him to show that he's alone and shows him doing things alone, just like the original movie. But it's mostly for them. And with the goofy ass shit that they have to do, they actually do commit, and they actually are pretty good. Some of the jokes were okay. Most of them aren't good, but every so often there's a joke that kind of catches me off guard because at first I'm like, okay, this is stupid, but then when it finally gets done, I'm like, okay, that actually was kind of funny.
Hey, Bethany, is this a good time for a selfie in front of an Uber?
Hashtag ill-judged.
Text that to me. Okay, guys, get in the car.
That's it. This is basically just the original movie, like I said, but worse, right? Like the script, like the writing is so bad, like really bad, like to where everything is a misunderstanding or some kind of convenient, contrived thing so that the plot can keep going. You have this thing where they have to get this doll back. So he goes there to obviously ask for the doll back, right? Like the mom was there at that house, knows that the doll was there. She got the, I'm pretty sure she looked at the doll too. And if the kid has the doll, just ask for the doll back, right? He took the doll without, permission anyway in the first place. But conveniently, the mom has already gone and she's on another flight. Conveniently, so that the Kevin McAllister character, Max, in this one, gets left behind. They don't do a head count. I mean, it was kind of contrived in the original movie where like there's a little kid that's just there, and they just happen to count him instead of Kevin when he's turning the other way, so they don't see his face. But in this movie, it's like he just goes into the garage because the place is crowded, and he just falls asleep in a car, right? Like he should be able to hear them at the very least when they're outside. I mean, he's rolling over and everything, but he doesn't, and so he stays in the car until he wakes up. And when he actually does get to be home alone, he's doing a lot of like normal stuff, right? There's a parental control on the internet, so he's not even like going through the internet to find like things that he shouldn't be looking at and stuff like that. He can't even do that. It's just him eating sweets and and that's it, really. It's a bunch of stuff that he probably could have done with his parents there. It's nothing crazy, and it's only just one montage of him enjoying being alone, and then he's like, "Oh, I miss my mom. I miss my family." Yeah, him taking the doll. The mom would have seen him take the doll, right? Yeah, there's just so much there. There's a part where they see him talking to an old lady. They assume that old lady is his grandmother and that she's German. So they start learning German because they have this thing where the kids change the Alexa type thing to German as like a joke, I guess. And it's still German when they try to break in the first time. But when they try to break in the first time, they conveniently also forget the password. It's like, what? Because that's another convenient kind of ridiculous thing where he goes over there. They know he's there. He goes to ask, and the mom's not there. So they're just screaming out the password to the house. I mean, you're leaving the house for an extended amount of time. You yell out the password to each other outside in the front yard. It's just
Somebody that lives here, what's the code?
Yo, mama!
Thank you, Ricky! Guess who's number one to get his head shaved? It's Ricky! Code!
1112.
1112, brilliant!
Well, that's a bad code.
there's other things where the mom, like, it takes them a while before they realize that Max is at home. And the mom is like, well, they're like, oh, we can, why don't we call the house? They conveniently don't have a landline. It's like, okay, a lot of people don't have landlines now, whatever. But somebody's like, oh, we can ask the neighbors. It's like, well, we don't know any of the neighbors. We just moved in 2 months ago. It's like, God damn it. Like, they always have some kind of convenient explanation for every little question that you could have about this story because it doesn't make goddamn sense. But we need it to happen. The misunderstanding of the kid being like, setting up all these traps. And these traps are kind of ridiculous and over the top anyway. But there's also a part where they go to the wrong house for some reason. It's like, you've gone to this house multiple times now. You went to the wrong house? Okay. The kid thinks that they're trying to kidnap him. And that's the reason why he's setting up all these traps. Because obviously, if he just thought that they just wanted the doll, he would just give them the doll. Like, obviously, he wouldn't set up all these traps and all that. Because they're not trying to steal from anything. They're not trying to take, they're only trying to take something that's theirs anyway. Right? So they're getting set on fire and having things thrown at them. He puts on a VR headset on the Jeff character, Rob Delaney. He puts a VR headset on. He's moving around. Oh no, where am I? Where am I? You can't feel that you have a VR headset on. This movie is fucking so stupid. It's crazy. There's the brother character that comes to visit Pam and Jeff, and his dialogue is bad. The dialogue just in general is really bad in this movie.
Whoa! Ho, nearly lost your house there, Pamela Ding Dong.
They force in the same actor that played, I think his name was Buzz, the older brother from the original Home Alone. They force him in. He's only really in one scene, and he shows up, and they just say, "Oh, this is our house," and he just believes them. And then he's like, he makes references to the original movie. That's really all it's for. Man, I guess maybe that's it. There's so much. This is really the whole movie, right? At the ending, it really does all come down to like a sitcom level misunderstanding. Like a sitcom level. I think at one point they do say, "Oh, this is just a misunderstanding." It's like, yeah, it's a bunch of misunderstandings because this is a shitty movie. The writing is awful. I could not believe that the movie was written this badly.
Ugh, this is garbage. I don't know why they're always trying to remake the classics. Never as good as the originals. You want some more peat corn, C-Train?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
All right.
That original movie has a lot of heart, a lot of charm. Yes, there are some contrived moments within it, with him being left alone and stuff like that. But it has a lot to it, right? It definitely is a classic for a reason. This is not. This is just they wanted to make essentially the same movie because they're creatively bankrupt, but they wanted to make little changes and tweak it so that they wouldn't get the criticism of it just being the same movie. So instead, they still did pretty much make the same movie with a lot of the same beats, but it just makes a lot less sense, and it's just poorly written, like ridiculous trash. It kind of does feel like, and I saw somebody kind of say this the other day. Well, I guess when it first, released on Disney Plus, but this does feel like it's one of the worst movies of the year, right? Like, I guess the only saving grace is I guess it's not in a theater. I don't think it's in a theater, and good, because it shouldn't be. But yeah, I'm gonna give this complete shit. I'm giving this my lowest rating. I think this was so hard to get through. I was, I was frustrated. Anyway, that's it. That's Home Sweet Home Alone, and I'm done.